Okay, we're now ready to fire up the Uuni to see how well it works. And first of all, we take the lid off the chimney and we take the firebox. In the firebox we place our pellets. 2 or 3 handfuls of pellets, smooth flat, and then at one end we pop a fire lighter. We're now going to get the fire lighter a light. I'm going to use a low torch, and once the fire lighter is actually alight, we push it into the pellets and, taking the lid off of the hopper, we then pop the firebox back inside the unit. I'm going to leave the lid off the front for now, and we will have a look to see how long it takes for the pellets to catch and for the unit to get up to temperature. If we look down inside the firebox, you can see the smoke coming out, and we can see that it's actually starting to catch some of the pellets alight. Inside we can see the fire just starting to take hold at the back. About 2 minutes after starting the fire, you see we're at about 18 degrees, 19 degrees. So we'll come back in about 5 minutes and then see what the temperature is. We're now 5 minutes into the lighting, and you'll see that there's a good degree of smoke coming out of the chimney. And if we have a look at the firebox, lifting the lid, we'll see that there's a lot of smoke coming out. Now underneath the lid there is a little hook which is used for accessing the firebox itself. You can see the pellets are now starting to get well alight, and we'll have a quick look at the temperature. Well, the temperature of stone has gone up marginally, but after 5 minutes it's gone up about 4 degrees, but I should imagine this will start ramping up quite quickly now. It is now 30 minutes and the unit still isn't up to temperature. It's only about 35 to 40 degrees inside. I am using hickory pellets, but at this stage what I will do is I'll top up the pellet hopper as the pellets are well and truly alight. So we take the lid off, and from our pellet store we fill that up and then put the lid back on. We'll come back in another 10 minutes and see whether the unit has got any hotter. We're now at 35 minutes and the pellets were not wanting to catch light, so I ended up blowing through the vents, and all of a sudden we did start getting flame. So I should imagine we will now start to see the temperature rise, but without blowing through the vents, the temperature rise I was getting was very minimal. With the pellets now alight, we can now see flames licking through the inside of the Uuni, which is what we would expect. within the last 2 minutes the temperature has now gone up from 30 degrees to 166 degrees, so that's very promising. It is now about 42 minutes after I initially lit it, and we've had the flame going now for several minutes, and we'll have a look to see what the temperature is and what it looks like inside the oven itself. If I take the lid off, you'll find we see that there is a good flame coming from the back, and if we look at the temperature, we're around about 300 degrees centigrade on the pizza stone. We're now going to put the pizza in, but before we do, let's just check the temperature inside. We're looking at around about 300 degrees centigrade, which is the highest this thermometer will go. So, we have here a Four Seasons pizza. I didn't make it myself, but we will give that a go just to test it out. Pop it in place, put the lid on, and we will give it a minute on this side and see how quickly it cooks. The unit itself seems to be a very good unit. I was a little bit disappointed with the speed at which it got up to temperature. However, once I had blown through the air intake and the pellets had actually caught flame rather than just smouldering, it seemed to get up to temperature very quickly. I'm getting a lot of carbon deposits though at the moment. You may have seen some earlier, so I'm not sure whether that's just burning off from the actual unit itself, or whether it's from the pellets, but there were a few carbon deposits coming. But we're now at 50 seconds, and we're coming up to the minute. As you see, it is looking a little bit burnt on one side, so maybe it's a little bit more vicious than I thought, but we'll give it another 30 seconds and then we'll see what it's like once the pizza has been in for around about 90 seconds. Okay, let's have a look to see how well that pizza has done. We're seeing a bubbling top. The crust seems to be very well cooked. I'm going to put it in for another 15 seconds just to see if we can get the top a little bit more bubbly. Okay. We'll try just around the other side, just to try and get it more evenly brown on the top. Okay, that should do it. Let's take the pizza out and see how it looks. It's bubbling well in many areas. I'm not sure how warm it's got in the middle, but it looks very reasonable. So what we'll do now is switch the unit off and we'll go inside and try the pizza. The first pizza is now complete. If we look in the hopper, we'll see that the hopper is fairly empty. So it does look as if we need to top the pellets up at least once between each pizza that we cook. The pizza is smelling really nice, and we'll now cut it and see how well it looks inside. and we'll have a taste. The pizza itself was very good, maybe because this was shop bought pizza. I didn't feel that the base was as crisp as I was expecting, but it still cooked nicely on top, even though the edges were slightly blackened. Well, tomorrow we'll be giving it a try with homemade pizza bases and dough, so we'll see how it works with those. We've now cooked a number of pizzas on the Uuni, and the results were a little bit mixed. The Uuni, once you get it up to temperature by blowing through the air intake to get the pellets alight, it gets up to temperature very quickly. The problem we have had with the pellet feed is, even when we were adjusting the pellet feed quite wide, the pellets sometimes formed a block and they burnt away underneath without the pellets on top feeding through. So we had to regularly keep poking the pellets just to make sure they were okay. They do burn down quite quickly, so you do need to keep them topped up, and you need probably a good scoop of the pellets between each pizza that you cook. The pizzas themselves, we made two types of pizza. One of them was using the pizza dough, the recipe that comes with the Uuni manual. The dough worked really well. It produced a lovely stretchy dough, and it was very tasty, and that was enjoyed by everybody. Using that dough and using the dough hand stretched, the pizzas came out a nice colour with a good bubbling cheese on top, and that worked quite well. Using the shop bought pizza, even though we were buying the thin crispy crust versions, didn't work out so well. With every pizza we tried, before we could get the top nice and bubbling, we were finding that the outside of the pizza would char very quickly, and this would happen in around about 45 seconds of putting the pizza in the oven. We tried turning it round, but whatever we did with the shop bought pizzas, we were finding the edges were charring long before the top was ready. This wasn't the case with the handmade pizzas that we made using the dough from the manual. We also tried using several types of pellets, including pecan, hickory, oak and fruitwood. They all burnt at around about the same rate, the pecan probably a little slower than the others. One thing we did find though, that the flavour of the pizza wasn't of wood smoke, it was actually predominantly of tar. And some of the people that were eating the pizza didn't find this very pleasant. We found the same flavour hint with all of the pellets that we tried, so I think this is a common problem with having the pellets burning so close to the pizza. All in all, when it comes to cooking pizza, the thin crust homemade pizza worked very well. The shop bought thin crust pizza, possibly because it has a lot of sugar in the pizza base, did burn very quickly, and those weren't very successful at all. If I was to rate the Uuni out of 10, I would give it a mark of 5. The flavour of the pizza wasn't that great, and it was very easy to burn, especially with the shop bought pizzas.